was From a Distance, played on the piano by Richard Clayderman. Welcome to you all, those of you here in the church, and all of you Zoomers joining us online. Also, those who might later be watching the recording via YouTube. You are welcome here just as you are, whatever your religion or even if you have none. You are a member of our human family and, as we all are, a leaf on the tree of life. All are welcome here. Today is All Souls Day, and yesterday was All Saints Day. This is when the Christian Church remembers the lives of the saints and prays for the souls of the departed. The last day of October is Samhain, better known as Halloween or All Hallows Eve, when the Celtic wheel of the year turns and the veil between life and death thins. This is a time for understanding that life and death are part of a sacred whole. All of our families are made up of the living and the dead, and I have therefore named my service Our Human Family. And now, as is our custom, let us begin this time of words, music and contemplation by lighting our chalice candle as a symbol of our free religious faith. That piece over. From creation's light, we kindle our own light, giving thanks for all the life of this miracle planet, the life we are all privileged to share. From the stars we have come, of stardust we are made, and to stardust we will return. But for now, we will walk by the light of the sun and worship by the light of our holy flame. The chalice prayers were the words of the retired Unitarian minister, Cliff Reed. I shall be using many of his prayers and poems throughout this service, as I feel he is someone who believes in God very much in the same way that I do. I do a lot of quoting others. I quote others the better to express myself, which is a quote in itself, though I don't know where I got it from or who wrote it. Some years ago, I started researching my family tree. It soon became clear to me that to some degree we must all be related to one another, even though at some very remote distance. If you believe in the book of Genesis, we could all trace our lineage back to Adam and Eve. Even if you are more inclined, as I am, to Darwin's theory of evolution, we all evolved from the same species. Charles Darwin was born in 1809 and died aged 73 in 1882. He was an English naturalist, geologist and biologist, widely known for his contributions to evolutionary biology. His proposition that all species of life have descended from a common ancestor is now generally accepted and considered a fundamental scientific concept. In a joint presentation with Alfred Russel Wallace, he introduced his scientific theory that this branching pattern of evolution resulted from a process he called natural selection, in which the struggle for existence has a similar effect to the artificial selection involved in selective breeding. Darwin has been described as one of the most influential figures in human history and was honoured by being buried in Westminster Abbey. Darwin published his theory of evolution in his 1859 book On the Origin of Species. By the 1870s, the scientific community and a majority of the educated public had accepted evolution as a fact. However, many initially favoured competing explanations that gave only a minor role to natural selection. And it was not until the emergence of the modern evolutionary synthesis from the 1930s to the 1950s that a broad consensus developed in which natural selection was the basic mechanism of evolution. His scientific discovery is the unifying theory of the life sciences, explaining the diversity of life. Darwin is known for several insightful and impactful quotes related to evolution, natural selection, and human nature. One of his most famous quotes is, "It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change." Another, "The love of all living creatures is the most noble attribute of man." And one of my favourites, "A man who dares to waste 1 hour of time has not discovered the value of life." Since Darwin published his book on the origin of species, a great deal of research has been done in the field of genetics. Our DNA, the blueprint code for all forms of life on our planet, has, in that research, revealed that all modern humans come from the continent of Africa. This is a scientifically confirmed fact. Our shared history begins around 200,000 years ago, when the first Homo sapiens emerged on the African continent. The most recent research has taken the DNA back to mitochondrial Eve. She is defined as the most recent woman from whom all living humans descend in an unbroken line purely through their mothers and through the mothers of those mothers, back until all lines converge on one woman. Around 60,000 to 70,000 years ago, our ancestors embarked on a great journey, leaving Africa and settling in other parts of the world. This migration was a pivotal moment in human history. Genetic research clearly shows that all modern humans, regardless of skin colour, language, or culture, share the same common ancestry. Fossils and archaeological finds further support this fascinating story of our origins. What makes us special is not only our diversity, but also the fact that we all share the same story of survival, adaptation, and migration, whether in Africa, Asia, Europe, the Americas, or Australasia. We all carry a part of this history in our genetic code. This realization reminds us that the boundaries we often draw between ourselves are artificial, because deep within us we all share the same roots. It is a lesson about connection and community that reminds us of our true oneness. And now for our first hymn. Hymn number 147 in the Purple Hymn Book. Spirit of earth, root, stone and tree, stand if you're able, and the words should come up on the screen.
Stable
Thank you. Well done, everyone. And now 2 readings, both written by Cliff Reed. The first one is called The Big Bang. If there was a Big Bang, and most scientists seem to think there was, an infinitesimal moment in less than nothingness, when suddenly the show was on the road. Creation, ex nihilo, then in that exploding point between non-time and time, all the potential for what happened later was there. Galaxies, neutrons, the dung beetles, solar winds, war and peace, fish and chips, love, Jesus, you and me, goodness, badness, and everything else that was and is to come. There is not a God in whom to believe or disbelieve. There is just God. Whatever it is that spans all this space, all this time, and lies in a child. And the second one is called Community in Infinity. If there is an infinity of galaxies in the universe, and if there is an infinity of stars in each galaxy, and if only an infinitesimal percentage of those stars have planets orbiting around them, and if only an infinitesimal percentage of those living planets have evolved intelligent life, if only an infinitesimal percentage of that intelligent life has developed advanced civilizations, then there are countless millions of planets in the universe that sustain advanced civilizations. But since these advanced civilizations are impossibly remote from each other, it is unlikely that any of us will ever meet. And yet we are all out there. And we are one, as all we who live on earth are one. And now I'm going to read a story from The Shepherd's Crown by Terry Pratchett. But before I do, this is a shepherd's crown. The shepherd part comes from the fact that such objects are often found in farmers' fields. The crown part is based on its shape and the 5 pairs of dotted lines running up the side like the arches of a crown. In reality, it is a fossil sea urchin dating back from 93 to 66 million years ago. This was a time when most of Britain was covered by an expansive sea in which thick layers of chalk were being laid down. Many different types of sea urchin lived and died on the prehistoric seafloor before becoming buried and fossilized. Millions of years later, sea levels fell and the land rose up to form the chalky hills and fields we see today in the Chilterns. And here is part of the story. It was born in the darkness of the Circle Sea. At first, just a floating thing, washed back and forth by tide after tide. It grew a shell, but in its rolling, tumbling world, there were huge creatures which could have cracked it open in an instant. Nevertheless, it survived. Its little life might have gone on like this forever until the dangers of the surf and other floating things brought an end. Were it not for the pool. It was a warm pool, high on a beach, replenished by occasional storms blown in from the hub, and there the creature lived on things smaller than itself and grew until it became king. It would have got even bigger if it were not for the hot summer when the water evaporated under the glare of sun. And so the little creature died, but its carapace remained, carrying within itself the seed of something sharp On the next stormy tide, it was washed away onto the littoral where it lodged, rolling back and forth with the pebbles and other detritus of the storm. The sea rolled down the ages until it dried and withdrew from the land, and the spiky shell of the long-dead creature sank beneath layers of the shells of other small creatures which had not survived, and there it lay, with the sharp core growing slowly inside, until the day when it was found by a shepherd, minding his flock on the hills that had become known as the chalk. He picked up the strange object which had caught his eye, held it in his hand and turned it over and over, lumpy but not lumpy, and it fitted in the palm of his hand, too regular a shape to be a flint, and yet it had flint at its heart. The surface was grey, like stone, but with a hint of gold beneath the grey. There were 5 distinct ridges, spaced evenly, almost like stripes, rising from a flattish base to its top. He had seen things like this before, but this one seemed different. It had almost jumped into his hand. The little piece tumbled as he turned it around and about, and he had a feeling that it was trying to say something to him. It was silly, he knew, and he hadn't had a beer yet, but the strange object seemed to fill his world. Then he cursed himself as an idiot, but nevertheless kept it and took it to show his mates in the pub. "Look," he said, "it looks like a crown." Of course, one of his mates laughed and said, "A crown? What would you want with one of them? You're no king, Daniel Aiken." But the shepherd took his find home and placed it carefully on the shelf in the kitchen where he kept the things he liked. And there, eventually, it was forgotten and was lost to history, but not to the Aikens, who handed it down generation to generation. And now we're going to have a reflective video, followed by a bit of silence. And during our reflective video, let us remember both family and friends who have passed away this year. Gone but not forgotten, remembering how their lives have influenced our own. I'm naming Joan Frost, the model, who was a member of our congregation for many years. Also, Eleanor Dixon, who was not only a member of the Western Union, but served on the committee of the General Assembly. And the video is called 100,000 Angels and sung by Lucinda Drayton.
The voice of Would you recognize the truth? Do you feel the love that's falling from my eyes? Take just a minute, come and rest you by my side. Let me tell you your own story. Let me walk you through your lives. Only a second, it's all it takes to realize there's 100,000 angels by your side. There's 100,000 angels by your side. Do you hear me talk to you? I whisper through doorways and pathways of your mind, clear like the morning dew, and fresh from my journey, cross an ocean of blue. Take just a minute, come and rest you by my side. Let me tell you your own story. Let me walk you through your lives. Only a second, it's all it takes to realize there's 100,000 angels by your side. There's 100,000 angels here
Thank you. And now we have 3 readings, and the first one is from A Hatful of Sky by Terry Pratchett, and Anne's going to come up and read it for us.
Once we were blobs in the sea, and then fishes, and then lizards and rats, and then monkeys, and hundreds of things in between. This hand was once a fin. This hand once had claws. In my human mouth I have pointed teeth of a wolf and the chiseled teeth of a rabbit and the grinding teeth of a cow. Our blood is as salty as the sea that we used to live in. When we're frightened, the hair on our skin stands up, just like it did when we had fur. We are history. Everything we've been on the way to becoming us, we still are. I'm made up of the memories of my parents and grandparents, all my ancestors. They're in the way I look, in the colour of my hair, and I'm made up of everyone I've ever met who's changed the way I think. So who is me? The teacher had been a little bit crazy, even for a teacher, but what he'd said had seemed to make absolute sense. One of the most amazing things about the universe, he had said, was that sooner or later, everything is made of everything else, although it'll probably take millions and millions of years for this to happen. The other children had giggled and argued, but Tiffany knew that what had once been tiny living creatures was now the chalk of the hills. Everything went round, even stars.
Thank you, Anne. And the second reading is going to be read by Viv, and it's taken from a book by David Mitchell called Unruly.
A few years ago, in an episode of QI that I appeared in, Stephen Fry explained that almost everyone in Western Europe is a direct descendant of Charlemagne, and almost everyone in the UK a direct descendant of William the Conqueror. These were facts based on overwhelming statistical likelihood. Someone of English ancestry living today will have 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 grandparents, etc. Spin this back 10 centuries, and their number of ancestors hits about 8 billion, many times the total number of humans alive on Earth at that time, let alone in England and Normandy. So a person living now must be descended from a person living then by many, many different roots, not just one. That makes the chances of any given person with English ancestry at all not descended from William the Conqueror by at least one of those roots so vanishingly small as to be, in practical terms, impossible.
Yeah, thank you very much, Viv. And now Margaret's offered to read a poem called Dear Ancestor. It's by an American poet, William Butler Palmer, and he wrote it in 1906 after visiting his great-grandfather's grave. Sorry.
Dear ancestor, your tombstone stands among the rest, neglected and alone. The name and date are chiselled out on polished marbled stone. It reaches out to all who care. It is too late to mourn. You did not know that I exist. You died and I was born. Yet each of us are cells of you, in flesh, in blood, in bone. Our blood contracts and beats a pulse entirely not our own. Dear ancestor, the place you filled 100 years ago spreads out among the ones you left who would have loved you so. I wonder if you lived and loved. I wonder if you knew that someday I would find this spot and come to visit you.
So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Sorry, I hiccuped then. And now for our second hymn, hymn number 128 in the Purple Hymn Book, Our World is One World. Stand if you're able, and the words will be on the screen. The next part I've named Census and Lineage. When researching my family history, a major resource was the National Census. I'm sure most of you have done censuses while you've been alive. It takes place every 10 years. The first one that named the occupants of houses was the one taken in 1841. Then came more information in the later ones. The information in the census is closed for viewing for 100 years, so the latest one we can access is the one taken in 1921. There wasn't one in 1941 because of the war, but one was taken in 1939 in order for the government to see who had any skills that might be useful during the war. A great deal of the information in this one, however, is still closed for viewing. My father was born in 1922, so doesn't appear on the 1921 census. His father, my grandfather, whom I do remember, was born in 1896 and died in 1957 when I was 9 years old. His father, my great-grandfather, was born in 1866 and died in 1909, which was 61 years before I was even born. His father was born in 1842, and 5 generations back, my 3 times great-grandfather was born in 1817. I have researched my father's family tree back to 1762. Of course, my family and yours go back further to the ancestors who first left Africa. Maybe one day it will be possible to trace our ancestry through DNA back to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Although our great-grandparents may have been alive when we were born, we cannot say that we remember them. But stories of our family members are passed down from one generation to the next, so their lives live on through their descendants, in the same way that their DNA does, passed on from one generation to the next. On these people, most of whom we never met or even got to know, our life, our very existence depends. Without their love and devotion to each other, we would not be here, we would not have been born. In the 2001 census, more questions were added about people's ethnicity and religion. Those who appear on it will never be able to view it unless they were born in 2000 and are lucky enough to live on to be 100 years old. This reflection by Cliff Reed is based on the questions that were asked in the 2001 census, and he's called it Meditation for Census Day 2001. What is your name? My name is what I have left when every other possession is stripped away. What is your country of birth? The world is my country. What is your ethnic group? All ethnicities are mine, for I am human, and humanity is one. What is your religion? I am Christian because I try to follow God's rule of love, as Jesus did. I am Buddhist because I reverence the Buddha's way of compassion for all beings. I am Hindu because I see the divine unity in a myriad avatars. I am Jewish because the law still guides me and the prophets still challenge me. I am Muslim because I bow before the one God, the beneficent, merciful. I am Sikh because I heed the Guru's witness to the worth and oneness of us all. I am of other religions too, for the truth has many channels, the divine so many messengers. I am Unitarian because I embrace the unity that I see in all. Count me as a child of your universe, O God. So be it. Now a couple of readings from the Holy Bible. The first from the Old Testament, and it's Psalm 133 and just the verse 1. How good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. And the second from the New Testament, Romans chapter 12, verses 9 to 18. Love must be sincere. Hate what is evil, cling to what is good. Be devoted to one another in love. Honour one another above yourselves. Never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervour, serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Share with the Lord's people who are in need. Practice hospitality. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Mourn with those who mourn. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be proud, but be willing to associate with people of low position. Do not be conceited. Do not repay anyone evil for evil. Be careful to do what is right in the eyes of everyone. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. We will now have our last hymn, One More Step. It's 125 in the Purple Hymn Book. Stand if you're able.
One more step along the world I go. One more step along the world I go. From the old things to the new. Keep me traveling along with you. And it's from the old I travel to the new. Keep me traveling along with you. Round the corners of the world I turn. More and more around the world I turn. All the new things that I see, you'll be looking at along with me. And it's from the old I travel to the new. Keep me traveling along with you. As I travel through the bad and good, keep me traveling the way I should. Where I see nowhere to go, you'll be telling me the way I know. And it's from the old I travel to the new. Keep me traveling along with you. Give me courage when the world is rough. Keep me loving though the world is tough. Leave us singing all I do. Keep me traveling along with you. And it's from the old I travel to the new. Keep me traveling along with you. You are older than the world can be. You are younger than the life in me. Ever old and ever new. Keep me traveling along with you. And it's from the old I travel to the new. Keep me traveling along with you.
I do particularly like that one. Ah dear, very stirring stuff. Just a few more. This is now a last prayer by Cliff Reed, and it's called Getting Along. Why can't we all just get along, God? You don't care a hoot about our conflicting creeds, dogmas and theologies, so why do we argue and fight about them? Why can't we just be a bit more loving to each other? Is it really so hard? Why can't we give each other a bit more respect? Why can't we be kinder and more forgiving? Why can't we all live by a few simple rules about honesty, consideration for others, and treating them as we'd like to be treated ourselves? Why can't we accept that it's enough to be part of the one human family, regardless of the labels we stick on ourselves? Why can't we live together peacefully on this beautiful earth without wrecking it? Why can't we be content to have enough and only be discontent when other people don't? Why do we persist in judging other people instead of paying attention to our own mistakes? Why do we have to be rude, nasty, and violent to each other when it's so much better and easier to be nice? God, why can't we all just get along? Show us the right path. Amen. And now some closing words and prayers before we extinguish our flame and have our notices. The first is the Sanskrit poem, which I do like. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the realities and truths of existence, the joy of growth, the splendour of action, the glory of power, for yesterday is but a memory and tomorrow is only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a memory of happiness and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day. And a prayer by Stephen Grillet. Dear Lord, I expect to pass through this world but once, and any good thing, therefore, that I can do, or any kindness that I can show to any fellow creature, let me do it now. Let me not defer or neglect it, or I shall not pass this way again. Let us go in peace, to live together in harmony, to see beauty in everything, to know wonder in each passing moment, and to walk gently with our God. Amen.